what's up everybody, and welcome to my reaction for the epilogue to Kaleidoscope. I just listened to this song like earlier this month, and I was given a lot of context after that I really didn't know and made a lot of sense in hindsight, but I didn't really have the time to process it during the video because this is one of those properties that like you need the context of all the stories, and also apparently the song again. So I listened to it again right before I recorded this, and I am now like aware, so when I listen to this song, Refrain for Seventh Heaven, that I am in the context of the song already. And when I say I re-listened to it, I mean right before hitting record, the song ended. So I'm very fresh on that, and I want to be in the context and in the know now that I have better ideas of what's going on in this world and what it all means. So I guess without further ado, let's go! Lyrics? Oh. Kind of. See, now it's cool. Now that I'm like understanding some of the references going on. I didn't think it would be like this immediate. It's basically a credit song. Ooh, okay. Sorry, I didn't expect that change. I mean, obviously I expect changes in this sort of property, but that one was interesting. So like I'm picking up on some of the visuals now that I didn't last time. And it's just as tastefully eccentric. But it definitely has like a more nostalgic vibe going for it, which is perfect for an epilogue. It's really weird being able to feel this one compared to the last one when I didn't have a clue what was going on. They really aren't, like, I mean, they're doing the weird rhythms, changing up the time signatures constantly. But for some reason, it feels better. Why is that? I only read a little bit of what was on the screen there, but I'm gonna have to read that. All right, so I just read the little ending text there, and basically it was just like, hey, we're gonna restart the game. We're watching you through the window. That was the part that I saw, the part about the window, and that's why I kind of chuckled at it. But then the whole, like, we ran into a problem, then you saved us. Like, oh, it's so nice, you know? Just so, I think what's interesting with this one is because I have the context that I did not have. That's something that happens a lot on this channel in general. People will throw me songs for like the end of a game that I've never experienced. So I don't have that sort of connection with the characters. And while that's perfectly fine, and I try to listen to it as objectively as I can, some songs and some contexts are so reliant. They absolutely hinge on the fact that you've played the game or had the experience with the characters that makes up everything and why it's good. You know, like I said, I had already re-listened to the song, and I was noticing things the second time through on that one that I didn't really notice the first time through because I was more listening to the song itself and not paying very close attention to what was actually happening on screen, because that's a lot of information to take in. It's moving constantly. I'm being introduced to these characters immediately. It's hard to keep track of all that. So like, I do miss out on details like that. And when there's all of this to take in, I usually just stick to my guns of focusing on the music and what the good and bad is on that side for the subjective edge. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And now that I have the context of that song and I re-listened to it and where it ended, this song feels better to me. I mean, it's definitely different, obviously. It has a lot less of that, like, super hyper jumpy stuff that, like, I don't hate by any means, but definitely a lot of producers love to just lay into that shit, and while that's fine, it definitely does become overwhelming to somebody like me who doesn't, one, play anything to do with rhythm games because they piss me off due to the speed. I do not have that sort of patience, and at the same time, the context is, again, very, very important there. So I don't have a reason to care for the characters. But now that I've learned a lot of the context through St. Vina putting the song in and then hearing what I had to say and then giving me some context, I'm able to understand a little bit better why that song is the way it is and why it makes sense with all the context of the visuals. And the same thing goes for this one, but this one being slower and a little bit easier to generally digest made it so much easier for me to respect it and understand what was going on and feel it out. Even though there was plenty of shifting around, the time signature changes really don't affect my opinion or anything. They are hard to follow sometimes, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily affect my opinion in a negative way. Like, I think that they're totally valid and they sound great when they need to be there and when it actually supports the narrative that's being told in the song. When it makes sense, go for it. And this song had a lot of that because you were kind of going through the whole story and things were kind of wiping the slate clean, and you were seeing all of these like pre-existing concepts and like assets of the game that were just kind of showing up again, and kind of to say goodbye like the whole song is as an epilogue. And of course at the end there with the message it had, just kind of saying, hey, you're done here, thank you for what you did, time to go again. We still have some problems, maybe you can help us find those, you know, like just kind of doing the usual thing of like, you've played the game, thank you very much, time for round 2 ? And it again, it just feels good. And this song feels so much more like that send off compared to the other one, which definitely had this big final boss energy that I just could not comprehend because I didn't know why I was there. And now that I know, and now that I've seen what happens after that, I'm able to digest all of that much easier. So I think they did a great job with this song and how they handled that, especially leaning into things like nostalgic roots in the song too. There was a lot of like chord progression stuff in here that was very nostalgic, very classic for like anime and film in Japan. They love leaning into these certain progressions that make you go, ah, yeah, I remember that. Very heavy on nostalgia over there. Almost Rad Wimpsy if you've seen like Your Name or any of those films by Makoto Shinkai. They love to mess around in that field and that exact same sort of nostalgic chord progression. And like I said, basically every other one too. And funny enough, a lot of the time it's usually the like live action adaptations of manga and anime that take that route. They do it in the normal anime ones too, but especially the theatrical side, which tends to be the live action adaptations. Sometimes the animated ones, really just depends on what the goal is, but romance ones especially love to lean into this exact same like chord progression and structure, and it's just so nice to hear it, and it just feels like an old friend in a way where you're just like, oh yeah, it's you again. And it might be a little bit tropey to hear it all the time, but it's also also doing exactly what it needs to. It's making you smile. It's making you reflect on those good times that you've had and everything you've experienced in that time. It's just a way to handle it. This song, taking all of that and throwing it into every single blender possible for every single different time signature in here, just reflects the game itself, having that challenge and being a part of the core experience of the game. So it just makes sense, you know, like all of this feels so much better, but I really needed all of that context to be able to understand why this one is so good and why the last one is actually better than I remember it being. I don't think I hated it, but at the same time, I think I was a little bit overwhelmed, and then as a result of that, underwhelmed of the actual experience I had because of that lacking information. So it happens, but this one was much better in my opinion as an overall track. I think it controlled itself better. I think it handled the tone better and the general message better, because while the other one did have kind of, especially when it was going through like all the phases and everything and like showing those details and having the text on screen to kind of give you a little mini blurb of what happened, it just felt busy and like unnecessarily busy, despite it being an attack song and like a battle song. Clearly there was definitely a fight going on, and it just didn't quite hit me the same way. But this one in general just flowed better. It felt like a better send-off to the game, and I'm glad that they went this route and had an epilogue at all, because you don't always get that. So very nice on this one. Definitely stands above the last one in the general term of feeling around the game. But when you get down to like the technical prowess, then you might start seeing me start to fight for the other one, because that one was insanely technical in a lot of ways. And while this one had that, they definitely played it down a little bit compared to the other one, probably just due to the overall energy being different. The goal was different. So still really good. Both of them are good in hindsight, but it really made it clear to me how much that context of knowing what the song is trying to convey to you, it's really important. So I guess that's just to say, if you're hearing a song that's a part of something, make sure you're at least a part of it in some way, shape, or form, or at least do bare bones research on it before you like really get into it, because you'll be missing out on a lot of the intent of the artist behind it. So make sure that that's in place before you jump into something head first, like I do all the time. But like I said, I just try to shift my general approach when I do that. So your mileage may vary, but at the same time, I think it's definitely worth taking a second look. If you've experienced something once and you didn't quite get it, go back, try it again, see what happens, see what changes, and it might make your entire experience just a little bit better or worse. Really just depends. But I've been yapping for quite a while on this, so I'll end it here. Thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want me to get to something else, drop in the comments down below and I will do my best as always. Or if like St. Vina did, you want to guarantee something out of me, you can always go to my Patreon or my YouTube memberships, where there's a tier that you can force me to listen to whatever you want. Doesn't matter what it's from, who it's by, if it's good or bad, none of that matters. That's why it's a guarantee. But if you don't want to do any of that and you just want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!